like one of the like I said, one of the benefits of showing up to the portrait office is that, most Mondays we will have some kind of a promo code. So first things first, I wanted to go ahead and announce that. I'll also put it in the chat, but we're going to be doing 30% off of an 8x10 wood panel print. And so I'll throw that in the chat. That's going to be good until Thursday night at midnight. But those wood panels are really cool. I've been trying to get some more of the other, I guess products that we offer here at the lab, in on the promo codes, aside from just doing, your standard luster prints and stuff like that. And so the wood panels are really cool. You can go to our website to check those out. But yeah, like I said, they're about an inch thick, and then we're going to do 8x10. So promo code for that will be 30 wood, and I'll go ahead and throw that down there. But you can use that at checkout to get 30 for one of those. The other thing that I wanted to announce, and I'll also link this in the chat, is this Saturday, the 27th, we're going to be hosting a fundraiser / wine mixer down in Hemisphere Park. It's a new wine bar in town called Rerooted 210 Urban Winery. It's going to be a fundraiser all going to benefit the Southwest School of Arts photography department. And so we're selling tickets for that right now. You can find them at the link that I'll put in the chat. Tickets are $10. And then we're also going to be having some raffle prizes. This is kind of in partnership with Camera Exchange. They're also helping us out with this. And so Camera Exchange is going to be putting up a few raffle prizes. We're going to put up quite a few. Southwest School of Arts is going to have something they're doing. And then I even think the wine bar is going to be doing something. And so raffle tickets are $5 a piece. And like I said, this is all going to benefit the Southwest School of Arts photography department. And so that's going to be from 2 to 5 this Saturday, again, at Hemisphere Park. And so we're just really excited to have this going. It's kind of one of our first real mixers since everything shut down. So we're excited to hopefully see everyone come out. We're going to be doing social distancing, all that kind of good stuff. And so, hopefully it'll be a good time, safe time, and obviously all of it's going to support a great cause. And so, if y'all have any questions, I'll also put my email address in the chat. So if y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to me with any of those. But yeah, I think that's all I have right now. Like I said, I'll reiterate all that kind of at the end of the stream.
Thank you, Javi. I appreciate you sharing. Again, that's Javi from Digital Pro Lab. And again, Digital Pro Lab is one of the major helpers to the San Antonio photography community. They are involved in so many different things, and they really do a great job of helping us as photographers out. So we definitely appreciate everything that you guys are doing, in addition to the beautiful work, which is the beautiful prints, the beautiful whatever it is that we're purchasing from you. It's always done so well. But in addition to the stuff that we expect of you, you're doing so much more. So thank you to Digital Pro Lab. You guys rock. And Javi has those of you who are in the chat, who are on the Zoom call, Javi has put into chat the promo code for the 30% off 8x10 wood panel. And so all you gotta do is hover over the bottom of the Zoom screen, click on chat, and you'll see it over on the right side. And you can also participate. So if you've got questions as we're going, feel free to ask those questions there. Some of them we'll get to right away. Some of them may take a moment to get to, but that is a great way to participate in, and of course, an advantage to being here on the Zoom call. If you are watching live on Facebook, either on the Photo Essay page or the San Antonio Photography Facebook page, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Please participate in the chat there. We aren't monitoring it quite as much, but we are taking a look at it. And so feel free to leave a comment there, and we will absolutely be able to at some point respond. So we definitely encourage it. Those of you who are here on the Zoom call, down at the bottom, I want to encourage you to use reactions. Hover over the bottom, use reactions. When you hear something that you like, give me a thumbs up, give me the hand clap. If you don't hear anything you like, well, then don't do that. Just a little pressure, right? Yeah, of course. Also, if you haven't taken a moment yet to like the Portrait Profits Facebook page, I'd like for you to take a moment to do that. If you don't know how to get there, well, then just go up to the search. It's in the top part of your window. Go to the search, enter in Portrait Profits, and there we are. And then click on the like once you're there. So add yourself there. That way you're keeping up to date on what's going on. Also, if you would like to be added to the email database where we send out a message about what's coming up, the upcoming, it's every single Monday, but you may want to have a reminder, then please give me your email. If you're here on chat, on the Zoom, put it in the chat. If you are on Facebook, then send it to me. My email is jim@portraitprofits.com. jim@portraitprofits.com, or jim@landersphotoschool.com. And don't write out photography, landersphotoschool.com. Send me an email and just say, I want to be on the Portrait Profits list. Awesome. I see Javi's already put his there. Good job, Javi. I appreciate it. All right. So you guys probably already know what the topic is for today. Sometimes I just announce it when we're here. But this time I thought I'd do something different and tell you guys ahead of time what the topic is, just to see what kind of response I got by doing so. And the topic today is the entire portrait photographer's process. Now, what does that mean? Because it means something different to every single person. What your entire process is may be different from the next person's entire process. And that's great. I think it's wonderful that we all have different ways of expressing what it is we do, different ways of completing our process, different ways of making things happen. That's fantastic. We should have different ways. And so don't think that just because I'm going to say something and you're not doing it, that I'm saying you're bad, you need to be doing this. That has nothing to do with what this is all about. This is a process that has a whole lot of things involved in it. Pick and choose the things you want to do. Don't do the things you don't. And don't feel bad about doing the things that you don't. Do it your way, defined by you as what is best for you and your clients. That's it. There is no pressure. There's nothing. There's just a list of things that you could do, an entire process, not necessarily your entire process is what we'll be discussing today. So I want you to take notes. By the way, this is one part of our E3 program that will be happening in May. I haven't set the date, but I'll be announcing it probably at the next meeting, at the next Portrait Profit Show. And the E3 program is 9 sessions, 9 2-hour sessions of intense photography business. It is a game changer for photographers. There are several photographers that their world has change as far as their business income, as far as making it real. It's because of E3 and a couple other programs, but this E3 program is coming up. So I'll be sharing more about that. But this program today, the entire portrait photographer process is part of that. One small part, about an 18th of it, but still it's one part of it, a very important part. And during E3 there's a whole lot more information given. There's templates, there's all kinds of things. You guys are going to have to take notes, but keep up with me. There's a lot of fun things involved. And I want to point out, portrait photographers, generally the end result is a print. Now that doesn't mean it's always that way. If you're doing a headshot for someone's LinkedIn page, their social media profile, then oftentimes it's a digital file that they want, and so therefore not a print. So whatever it is that you're doing, whatever's appropriate, that's what you should do. So I'm not saying that you have to print in order to be a good photographer. It's just one of the tools available in your toolbox. But based on what I choose to do, it's one that I employ almost every time. So it's up to you whether you choose to do that or not, of course. But those who do choose to print, which I definitely encourage, those who do choose to print oftentimes get the pricing wrong on their print prices. And a lot of times it's based on what the lab charges. Well, what the lab charges is one small part, one small step. What the lab does is one small step in the entire creative process. So let me show you an illustration of the entire creative process. And you may have already seen this illustration because it's today's icon. But right here in the center, where it says initial contact, follow-up, planning session, session prep, photo session, image processing, image selection, fine-tuning, send to the printer, post-production, and delivery and installation, notice where the printer is. It's not the entire process. It's one step out of many in your process. Your prices for your prints may be based slightly on what the lab charges, slightly, but not really very much at all, because it's only one itty bitty sliver of what it is that you're doing as photographers. So if you're charging just a little bit more than what the lab's charging, then you're totally misunderstanding how business works. Because if you are an employee, let's say that you were, let's take it to another step. Let's say you're a lawyer. Are you only going to charge for the time that you spent in court? Or are you going to charge for every single thing you did in the process? Of course, you know how lawyers work. They're going to charge for every single step of the process. Why won't you? Don't you have value? You've got to charge for every step of the process. And a lot of times that comes in shows up in your prices on your price list, on your prints price list. But it's just one step in the overall process, which we're going into detail today. What are the steps in this overall process? Got your notes handy? Got your paper handy? Ready to take some notes? Because here we go. The first thing in the process, once you have a client. Now, this isn't all the marketing, building a website, all that other stuff. Very important stuff, just not for today. The very first thing is visiting with your client, talking to your client, finding out who they are and what it is they want. And of course, making sure that you are the right person. Let's assume that you're the right person for the job. You're getting their contact information. This is the very first thing. You're getting their contact information and information about whatever it is they're wanting to have photographed. Let's say it's a family portrait. And I say family portrait often because I specialize in emotional family portraits as home decor. So therefore, if I say family, that's what it means to me. But to you, it may mean high school senior. It may mean babies. It may mean tweens. It may mean couples, whatever it means to you. You're going to get the information about who it is that you're going to photograph and why you're photographing them. What's the end result supposed to be? So you get their contact information. That's number one. The second thing is you schedule a planning session. Now, again, if you're only doing headshots for someone's LinkedIn profile, probably not a good reason to do a planning session. Maybe there is, but I don't really do planning sessions if I'm just doing a headshot for a social media profile. There's just no reason to do it, I don't think. But for full sessions, you plan a planning session. And this can be done via online, via Zoom. It can be done in person, whatever works best in your situation. But you plan a planning session. I call it a design consultation. The next is you send them, once you've got them on your calendar for this design consultation, you send them an email confirmation. Now, each one of these steps that I'm giving you, I have a little box. In fact, I'm going to quickly share the screen that I'm looking at right now. Let me do that. Share screen just so you have an idea. So take a look at that real quick. You can see how it has my logo, and this is for family portraits. If it was for something else, it would say another type of portrait there. Date of initial contact, and then completion date is when the whole process is done. And so this is blank until the process is done. Only the top one is filled in at first. And by the way, if you're in my E3 class, you get this and customized to your business. So that is what so this is the procedure and checklist where I'm just writing things down. You can see a box here. That gives me at a glance to, knowledge of whether I have completed that or not. So I have one of these for every single client. And you can see that it's 2 pages in length, and it's just every single step of the process. And we're going through those right now. But you can see this box here on each side. That just means that it's either done if it has a check mark in it, or if it's blank, it means it hasn't been done yet. And on the opposite side, if it's something that needs a date, then I put a date. Some of these need a time. And so whatever is appropriate there, that's what I use. So a little box just tells me it's a checkoff box, whether it's done or not. I check it off once I've completed the task. That way I make sure that I don't skip any steps. I want to have a very consistent process. I want them to have a wonderful client experience, and I don't want to let anything slip through the cracks. It doesn't do any good for them or me. So we need to make sure that that happens. So I send them an email or snail mail, but usually it's an email, a written confirmation about their session, about us, what this is about. Now, a quick word about a design consultation. I would like to schedule some time for, in my case, mostly families, but whatever it is, I want to schedule some time for the people I'm about to photograph. And I visit for at least 30 minutes to get to know them. I learn their thoughts, I learn their goals for this portrait session, and for them, for their life. Who are they? What are they about? Because if I'm creating a custom portrait, anyone can show up on Saturday morning and press a button. You know, those photographers that just say, you know, find out that they're available at a certain time, and they just decide where they're going to meet over the phone. Every photographer in the entire world can show up at 9:30 on Saturday morning. If you say you want to stand out from the crowd, then quit doing what the crowd is doing. Have a planning session. Do more than just show up at a pretty place and press the button in front of somebody. Find out who they are. Find out what they want as an end result. Do you know that the majority of the time when I'm photographing something, I already know during the design consultation, the planning session, what size print they're going to put up on their wall? Most photographers wait to show their photographs and then just kind of guesstimate on what the appropriate size is. I already know where on their wall it's going to be. That way I can plan for it. I know that it's going to be horizontal. I know that it's going to be vertical, whatever it is. I know because I've planned, I've been in their home. I've seen the spot where it's going to be. How better can you plan than by knowing where it's going to go? Because then you also know whether it's going to be vertical or horizontal, so you can plan for that. You also know size. And normally it's a 3 or 4 foot print that I'm completing for someone, because that's the appropriate size for the family portrait on a wall. So I'm happy to do that, and I think it's just part of the process. Now, before the design consultation itself, so we've talked about the date, we've got it on the calendar, I've sent an email confirmation. Before the design consultation, I am calling and confirming, or sending an email and confirming. Call them the day before to confirm date, time, and location. Most of the time, everything is smooth, perfect, no problem. But there have been times where someone forgot something. They put it on their, they said, yes, I'm available at that time, but they forgot something. Like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I'm so glad you called. You know what? It's so easy to reschedule at that point. But if I just drove over to their home, no confirmation whatsoever, and that's when we realized it, then I've wasted a lot of time. And I could have preempted that problem. Don't want that to happen. So I'm calling them the day before. In fact, every single time when we have a session together, we're calling before just to confirm. At the design consultation, at this planning session, by the way, you call it whatever you want. It's a planning session. I just call it design consultation. At this planning session, you're going to schedule two things. One, the photography session. That makes sense. But the second thing, you might not have thought of, but it's coming. They're going to be looking at their photographs. And so I schedule a date for that. Now, I know not everybody does in-person sales. If you're not doing in-person sales, then maybe you don't schedule a a portrait selection consultation. But I do that. I in-person sales. So I schedule both at the same time. I know it's coming. I've asked them to have their calendar out. Why would I ask them to have their calendar out more times than I need to? So just take care of both at the same time. So at the design consultation, schedule the portrait session and the portrait selection consultation. Steve asked, when do you talk about pricing for the photo on the wall? I talk about that right off the bat, the very first phone call. I want to give them an indication of how much they can plan on investing, because I don't want to waste their time or mine. In fact, I'll tell you the words that I use. After I visited with them, this is over the initial phone call, so this is before the design consultation. During that initial phone call, I'm finding out what it is that they want, what we're trying to accomplish, and then I give them indication of how much they can plan on investing. And again, the reason I want them and me to be on the same page. It's fair. I want to be treated that way. So, but I first have to find out what it is they want. It'd be like going into HEB and saying, I've never been shopping before. How much is a bag of groceries? Well, it depends on what you want in your bag. Until I know what they want in their bag, it's not even fair for me to tell them their price. Now, if I have only one product and it has only one price, well, that changes things, because it is what it is. But that's not what I have. I have several different options for them to choose from. Things taking different amounts of time. Different sizes charge a different amount of money. So therefore, I want to find out what's effectively in their bag. So I want to earn the right to answer the question that I know everybody wants the answer to. How much? What's the bottom line? How much is this going to hurt my wallet? I want to give them that answer because I would want that answer. And because I don't want to waste their time or mine. I want to be fair. I don't want to keep them in the dark. You may think, well, I'm not keeping them in the dark. I'm just not telling them that, because no, you tell them right off the bat. As soon as you're able, as soon as you have earned the right to tell them the price, that's when you give a ballpark figure, because you actually don't know for sure what it is. But once you have the ability to give a ballpark figure, that's when I give a ballpark figure. And I say, before we go any further, can I give you an indication of how much you can plan on investing? And everybody says yes to that question. Most people in your situation will invest between, and I give real numbers, between $1,200 and $3,500, and get a large one for themselves and some smaller ones as gifts. Does that fit within your budget? And I say all of that. I don't take a space and let them respond in between. I say all of that because I know what the question is. If I only give them a price, they're going to say, what's it for? So I tell them what it's for. A good sized one for your wall or for yourselves, and some smaller ones to give as gifts, because I know they're going to want to give some to grandma Who does a family portrait and doesn't give one to grandma? Grandma wants a photograph. So therefore, I know ahead of time that they're going to give some away as gifts. Not a lot, probably only 5x7s, 8x10s, little ones. But I give them that ballpark figure, and then I ask them, does this fit within your budget? Now, what I found is a lot of people haven't even thought about a budget yet. So they don't really know how to answer that question, but I want to make sure that we're on the same page, because it doesn't do them any good to be pulled along and find out in the end what the price is. That might make someone really angry. So I tell them on the phone call. I mean, before we've discussed the setting a time up for the planning session, because I think that's fair. Do you guys think that's fair? Excuse me. I hope you do. So we've scheduled at the design consultation, we're scheduling the portrait session. We're scheduling the portrait selection consultation. I've got the dates. I'm putting them on this page, and I'm putting them on my calendar. I use Google Calendar. You use whatever's appropriate for you. I also collect the creation fee. Now, does every photographer charge a creation fee? No, I'm not telling you you need to. I'm telling you I do. I charge $400 for my time alone, because I am worth it. I charge $400 for my time to create the portrait. It does not include any prints. It includes me. As a small business owner, as a photographer, you are both employer and employee. I recommend that you pay the employee. I recommend that there be some value for the employee. If you don't pay the employee, you're the worst boss ever. And you've got control. Pay the employee. Just like when you have a mechanic, it's parts and labor. Not a stretch for a photographer. Parts and labor. Same exact thing. I'm charging $400 for the session. You charge whatever you want for the session. And then whatever the cost of the prints are. My average sale is $3,800. Now, I don't ever tell my clients that my average sale is $3,800, because why would that matter to them? The only thing that matters to them is, what's it going to cost me? And so I hear what it is that they have, what they're saying, and I give them that estimate. Again, that's done at the phone call, but also during the design consultation. I say it again. I want to make sure we're on the same page. Have you ever said something to someone and they came back later and said, I don't remember you saying that? Yeah, it's not going to happen with me, because I repeat it. Besides, I might learn some new information during the design consultation. So I repeat what I said on the phone call. I give them an indication, a ballpark figure of how much they can plan on investing with me. I want to make sure that we're on the same page before I put them on my calendar for a session. I want them to know what they're getting into with me. If that's not what they want, that's fine with me. It doesn't bother me that someone isn't looking for me. You know what, guys? We are just, you're not going to like this. We're just tools to the client. Yep, they may have an emotional connection with us, and that's great, but we are tools to the client. If they don't need a photographer, they don't pick us up off the shelf. If they need a photographer, they pick us up off the shelf. We're a tool to help them get what they want. Just like all the tools at Home Depot or Lowe's. When you go in there, you go and get the tools that you need to get the job done. Do you have any type of emotional response to the tools that don't get picked up by you? No, because they're just tools. You go in, you get the tools you need, you leave. It's easy. You are that. You're a tool on the shelf at the store. And sometimes you're the right tool, and other times you're not. Just because you have the ability to press the button does not mean you're an expert at pressing the button in front of everything that could be in front of the camera. But you're probably really good at a handful of things, and you probably love some things. How about you combine those? The things you really enjoy doing, the things you're really good at, the things that bring you joy, the things that bring you, that make you look good, combine those things. Make that your niche. Just because you have the ability to press the button in front of something does not mean you are an expert in all things. And as a photographer, you should be the best. Always striving for more. Now, the best is defined by you, but you be the best that you can be, and make sure that that best keeps on getting better. Don't allow it to become an excuse. Well, it's the best I can do. What an excuse. You keep getting better. Your best today is better than your best last week. I bet you've looked at your own work and seen improvement over time. Fantastic. Yeah, keep on keeping on. Now, Steve asked a question about the creation fee. What is its purpose? What is it for? And I'll briefly answer that. In a future episode, we'll probably talk more about why I choose to do that and how and what I say, all those kind of different things. But for quickly answering your question, does the creation fee count as a deposit if they cancel completely? For the most part, the fees that I charge are not refundable. There are exceptions. So, it's in my policies, and we'll talk about policies at a future episode of Portrait Profits. But the creation fee isn't the deposit. It is for taking time off of my schedule that I could have been using for something else. That's what someone's paying for. And so if I'm able to replace it with something else, then I probably will credit it to the next time. It's most likely what will happen. By the way, I'm not sure if that ever happened, but it has the potential to happen. So I'm glad you're asking that, because yeah, it can. Yeah, I would initially credit it, but for the most part, when someone takes a gap of my time, they're purchasing that time, as far as I'm concerned. And if I don't have, like, if they cancel the day before, then there's certainly not enough time for me to replace and do something else during that time, because I wouldn't have time to plan. I would need at least 2 weeks to find someone else to give myself enough time for planning purposes. So generally speaking, they're just not refunds. Now, if someone is sick, there's just nothing we can do. Well, then of course we have an exception. Hopefully that answers your question. But again, we'll go into more detail on that kind of thing at a future episode of Portrait Profits. Excuse me. All right, so we've collected that creation fee, and that happens at the end of the design consultation. So put on your list, collect the creation fee if you choose to do so. Next thing on the list, add the portrait session and the portrait selection consultation to my calendar. Next step, send my client a follow-up email about what we just talked about. Again, I want to make sure I'm leaving no chance for misunderstandings or not hearing something. I know for sure that while I'm listening, there's something about what someone has said that catches my attention, that causes my mind to wander off just a little bit, meaning I'm not giving 100% of my attention 100% of the time. I bet you're the same. You're intending to pay attention. You believe that you are paying really good attention, but you're going to miss some things. They're going to miss some things. This isn't something they do every day. This is something you do every day. So of course you're going to remember everything. They're not. So therefore there's a lot of repeating going on, both verbally and written. I just give them a summary of what it was we just talked about. the ballpark figure of how much I think it's going to cost, the ballpark figure on how much time I believe it will take. Anything that we talked about that has to do with getting to the end result that we planned for, I include in that email. So that's after the design consultation. Send the client a follow-up email talking about what it was you just talked about in the planning session. Now, next section, the portrait session. Call the day before, or at least do a confirmation email the day before. Again, to make sure everybody's on the same page, that there hasn't been something happen with the calendar, the schedule, that someone hasn't gotten sick, something changed. Make sure that we're all on the same page. Call the day before. Next thing under the portrait section is plan to show up early. Now, what does that mean? It actually means two different things, generally speaking, and specifically a whole bunch of things. One, if their session is going to be at their home, which a lot of my family portrait sessions are, they're at their home, usually in their backyard or in a room that they like in their home. But if it's at their home, generally 5 to 10 minutes early is appropriate. Now, if it's going to take you a while to set up, then you talk about that ahead of time. But showing up half an hour early to someone's home, that's too early. Not to someone's home. Now, if you're meeting at a location, you're going to a park, then I would recommend showing up early. Now, you've probably been to that park before. If you haven't, you probably scouted out ahead of time. Great. But still show up early. Things can happen. You've probably experienced some things already. Show up early. Now, how early is that? At least 15 minutes. But half an hour, if it's appropriate, an hour, you have to define what's best. But you have got to make sure you're there before they are. I want them seeing you when they arrive. That brings them a lot of calm, that relaxes them. They may be a little bit unsure about the location. Maybe they haven't been there before. Maybe they're not sure about where they're supposed to meet at that location. But as soon as they see you, that's relieved. But also so that you can see that area. Take a look around, walk around, make sure things are as you expect them. If you see some trash, you're going to pick it up. Make sure it's out of the way. Easier to pick it up then. Maybe you've got some leaves. Maybe you bring. There's been a handful of times where I've brought a broom and I've swept. Yep. But I did it before they got there. I don't want that dust and stuff, leaves, whatever, getting on them. It's done beforehand. The location will help you determine that and what it is you need to accomplish. Helps you determine on how early do you need to be. But plan to be early. Put it on your calendar. So if the start time is at 9:30 in the morning, then maybe you're writing 9 o'clock on your calendar so that you make sure you're there on time. And on time in this instance is early. The first time I came across someone who was really serious about that was Tom Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints and the former owner of several different auto dealerships here in San Antonio. And that I remember one time I had their family portrait on my calendar, and the daughter of Tom called me and said, "I just want you to know something about Dad. He's the 5-minute man." And I said, "Renee, what do you mean? What does that mean? He's the 5-minute man." He likes to get in, get done, and get going. He gets there early, usually at least half an hour early. And ideally, if possible, he'd like to be done before the start time. I'd never come across anyone who said anything like that before. And so when I photographed their family, I got there an hour early. I was set up and ready to go. And sure enough, he shows up half an hour early. He's ready to go. He's looking around for his family, wondering what's going on. Why aren't they here yet? A few minutes later, most of his family showed up, but one isn't there. It's 15 minutes now until the start time. It's 10 minutes now until the start time. He's not happy. His grandson is late. At 15 minutes, he was already saying that. At about 10 minutes before it, he was pretty upset. His grandson arrived 5 minutes early. And guess what? We still finished before the start time. Yeah, that's how it went. It went well. It went real well. But that was very different than the norm. Be prepared for anything. Enough about that one. Hopefully you like that story. Once you have finished that session, you're going to visit with them. By the way, we're going to talk about what to say and what to do in future episodes of Portrait Profits. But as far as things on your checklist, the things that you can check off, you're going to make sure that you reiterate everything, tell them what's going on. This is done verbally in front of them. Say, this is my next step. This is how long it's going to take. This is when we have the date scheduled for your portrait selection consultation. Once you get back home, immediately, or office, home or office, whichever the case is, once you get back, download those images immediately. Don't wait. Okay, if you need to use the restroom, go ahead and take care of that. But do this immediately. Download those images onto your computer. I have a NAS where I've got a 4 redundant 4 terabyte NAS, network accessible storage. And so once I have downloaded it, it's on 4 different drives. And so even if one of the drives were to fail, I still have 3 more backups. And once I replace it, it replaces that information. And so I'm good there. I want to get the information off the card as soon as possible. Now, there's a lot of ways to make sure that happens, but this is one. I know a lot of photographers have 2 cards, and they record to both, making sure that a card doesn't fail. It can happen. It doesn't happen often, but it can. Therefore, they're prepared for it. 2 slides. But download. So the next step on here, download the images ASAP. And then I add it to the job log. I don't know how you guys do your behind the scenes things, but I have a job log where we write down the information about the session, the name, the location, just all those variables, the date, all that kind of good stuff. So we have backed up those images. I recommend that you have a backup of at least 2 before you clear cards. But at that point, I clear my cards. So I write a date on there. And then I go through an initial editing process. And I use Lightroom. I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. I take out the ones that I don't want. Now I've got a star process, a number rating process. 5 means that it made it through the first step, but so the first step, it's 1s and 5s. So 1 means, I'm not going to show this to anybody. 5 means it might, but I compare them head to head. My goal is to cull down the images so that I'm not showing them a huge number of photographs. It takes too long to show the photographs. So therefore, I want to cull it down to just the best of the best. Besides, I imply that I'm pretty darn good at what I do. So therefore, I want every single step of the process to solidify that thought in their mind. So I am doing my initial image editing. I try to get this down to 20 to 30, but at least 40. No more than 40. I don't want to show too many images because they get information overwhelmed. So that's the next step. And you know what? Javi, can I get your attention for a second?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Would you do me a favor and tell us again about the things that are coming up and your promo code that you have?
Yeah.
I need to take a quick break.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So take over for me while I'm
All right.
done.
Yeah, no, I'll babysit while you're gone.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so just again I think we have probably a few new viewers. I know, a few people are watching on Facebook as well, but for anybody who's watching right now, we are doing a promo code for 30% off of an 8x10 wood panel print here at Digital Pro Lab. The promo code for that is 30 wood. And so again, that's in the chat right now. For anybody at Facebook that's watching on Facebook, again, that's the number 30 Wood, WOOD, all one word, at checkout on digitalprolab.com. And again, that's for an 8x10 wood panel print. The other thing that I had announced at the beginning was this Saturday, the 27th, at 2 o'clock. We're going to be hosting a wine mixer / fundraiser at Rerouted 210. It's a new wine bar down in Hemisphere Park. This is going to be a fundraiser all going to benefit photography department over at the Southwest School of Art. So we do a little bit of work with them. We really wanted to organize an event that everyone kind of help socialize at, but also go and benefit an organization, an institution here locally that really uplifts the photography community. So you can go purchase tickets at that. The link is in the chat right now. It's a bit.ly link. For anybody who's watching on Facebook right now, if you go over to any of our social medias, whether that be on Instagram, Facebook, we've got plenty of posts promoting where you can go purchase tickets for that. Tickets for the event are going to be $10, and then raffle tickets are going to be $5. We're going to have quite a few raffle tickets. I believe we have altogether over $1,000 in prizes. So raffle tickets are $5. If for whatever reason you can't, attend the event, you're still more than welcome to go purchase tickets for the raffles. We'll just kind of randomize everything and make sure that you get however many tickets you purchase. We'll put you in for each of those. And so, we encourage everyone to attend if you can. But if you can't, we certainly understand, but we'd still love if you, helped out and maybe purchase a raffle ticket, so that way we can do as much as we possibly can for the South. And with that, I think Jim is back. So thank you for the time again, Jim.
Thank you. When nature calls you, you have to pay attention.
Javi, is there a deadline on the ordering?
Yes, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so the code is live right now. And then it's going to expire Thursday. That is this Thursday at midnight. So just make sure that you get your orders in by then. Just a few tips for for anybody who's ever printed on wood before. Essentially, anything that's going to be, the base obviously is that wood. And so anything that's as far as tonal ranges go, anything that's going to be true white is actually going to just be the surface of that wood. And so just kind of keep that in mind. If you have a high key image, you're going to get a lot of that wood tone, showing through. And so if that's something that you want to work into the print, that. But if you're someone who wants to print on wood, but maybe doesn't want a ton of the actual wood, in the image, something that's going to be a little bit, perhaps more to the left on a histogram is going to be what you'd want to do. But yeah, they're really cool products. Like I said, I kind of bring more than just standard paper prints to these things for you guys to try out. And ideally these are things that you can offer your clients, things for the home. But just getting a little bit creative with what you might be able to print on. We do everything from metal to mugs to lots of other things. And so just kind of wanted to let you guys branch out and experience more than just the normal substrates that we usually offer you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Wood is a good tool, but it's just like any other. They're just tools. And with a special like this comes along, you guys need to try it out, just to see what it's like. Because like you said, it's a totally different product, and it's unusual. It may take a little bit of getting used to, and you may start noticing that there are some prints that just look better with certain finishes or certain I'm not the word that I'm looking for. Javi's not. I'm not finding, but when I'm thinking of papers, I think of surfaces, and this is kind of the same thing: textures, all that kind of thing. But different things look good on different types of print materials, and so experiment, especially when you have specials like this from Digital Pro Lab. Thanks again, Javi, for doing that. All right. I guess while we're doing some announcements, let me tell you about a couple of my announcements. and I'll just share my screen. That might be easier to show you. For each one of you, if you'd like to have a private session, I am giving each one of you a business assessment consultation. So this is, we talk about your, whatever it is you're doing. And this is on the portrait photography side. If you're not doing portrait photography, I'm happy to help you out with this also, but I definitely specialize on the portrait side. Portraits and weddings. We'll talk about profit. We'll talk about making sure you work fewer hours, but still bring in plenty of profit. We'll talk about business systems. We'll talk about whatever it is that you need. That's what we'll talk about. It's a free 30-minute appointment. And so just use that link that you see on the bottom. If you do a screenshot right now, you'll have it, but it's calendly.com/photo school /30-minute-appointment. And that is my calendar. You find a time that works for you, and it goes onto my calendar. No charge. Take advantage of that. So that is my business assessment consultation. Yours for free. Next one I want to share with you is the Pagosa photo workshops. This August, we're going to be going to Durango, and there will be 5 days of fun adventure. There's going to be 3 teachers there. 2 of them live there. They used to live here in San Antonio, but one lives in Pagosa Springs, one lives north of Denver, and we'll be meeting up in Durango. And we chose Durango because it's a really pretty place, but also because there is an airport that flies right into it. So we'll be meeting at the DoubleTree by Hilton, and going out to beautiful spots that we've chosen, and we'll give you as much assistance as you want, and we'll also leave you alone as much as you want as well, depending on where you feel you're at. We'll probably get on the Silverton train. We're just going to have a ton of fun. Even at night, we're going to get out and photograph the Milky Way, because that's a perfect time of year for that. In the afternoons, a lot of times during August, it is they call it their monsoon season. So there's a lot of extreme weather. And so if we find a storm, we're going to go get it. We're going to photograph it. Strike Finder has agreed to send us one of their new pieces of equipment that you connect that to your camera, and it will, whenever there's a lightning strike, it creates the photograph for you. Kind of cool. So that's Pagosa Photo Workshops. If you go to pagosaphotoworkshops.com, might as well just show you that real quick too. All right, so now you're looking at my screen, because I want to take you, not there, to Pagosa Photo Workshops. And that's pagosaphotoworkshops.com, so that you can get some more information. And that's the Durango workshop, August 8th through 12th. Take some time and look at that on your own. I'm not going to go into the details today, because I've got a lot more stuff I want to cover with you. But these are the 3 teachers. Yes, I'm one of them. Mark Langford, Chelsea Stockton, and myself are the teachers who will be there with you on this photo adventure. A lot of fun. If you haven't already, there is gone to the portraitprofits.com website. Take a moment, go visit the portraitprofits.com website. All right, stop that share for now. And then one more thing, the annual San Antonio Photography Tournament. So let me share that with you. There are two, one for the kids and one for everybody else, 12 and up. The one for the kids is on That's interesting. Show all. There it is. The one for the kids is on Sunday, July 18th, 2021. That's this summer, for ages 5 to 15. So if you know someone who has kids that age, this is so much fun for them. And this is going to be done using Zoom. And so they can do it from their home. They can do it from a park. They can even do it while they're on vacation. Just log in and participate. It's an instant gratification photographer's challenge. So that means they get the list, they photograph, they submit their photographs, they're judged, prizes are awarded, and winners are announced all in one day. This is the 3rd annual San Antonio Youth Photo Tournament, July 18th. And of course, the regular tournament. Share that. The regular tournament, it's the 9th annual San Antonio Photographer Tournament, and that's on Sunday, October 17th. Sunday, October 17th. Yep, put that on your calendar. And I'll show you real quickly how to get tickets for that. Go to landersphotoschool.com. And on these banners, you see this huge banner right across the top. When you first go there, now I've had this on my computer for in preparation for the class, so these change every 5 seconds. But the very first one that it goes to is upcoming events. It's about the tournaments, and so you would click there in order to find information and actually just view those details. That will take you to the page where you can purchase the tickets. So you click on the view details and you click on the tournament, and it takes you to the payment page and more information. So those are the steps that you would go through. So just $29 for the kids tournament and just $39 for the regular tournament. Man, there are a ton of prizes. If you've participated before, you know. There was one year where we had $72,000 worth of prizes, and it's just a one-day challenge. So much fun. Hope to see you there. All right, back to the reason why we're here. We're in the middle of talking about the entire portrait photographer's process. And so far, we've talked about what happens before, talking about getting their information, finding out who they are, what it is that they want to do, how it is that we're going to help them do that. All these different steps, checklists of things we're going to do. We've talked about photographing them and what steps we need to do there, backing them up afterwards. Now we're going to talk about the portrait selection consultation, where they actually get to see their photographs. Now, if you are a shoot and burner, then you are just giving them their digital files. If you are a post and prayer, then you are posting your photographs to some e-commerce page and you're praying that they'll actually order something. So I guess you're done at that point. But I'm not done at that point, because I'm the expert here. I don't want to take them through most of the process and then just say, all right, you know what to do. Here you go. It'd be like a roofer not finishing the job. It'd be like someone who is an artist like us, a painter, paints on canvas. They may start thinking, if they thought like photographers, they may think, you know what? People know how to use paint brushes. I think I'll just start my paintings and then sell the paintbrush and some paints, and they can finish it. They know how to use paint, so therefore they know, since I know what to do, I should not finish my work. Photographers, there's times when it's appropriate not to finish your work, but if you're a portrait photographer, then the end result is generally on the wall. Finish the job. That's just one guy's opinion. You don't have to agree with it. But in my opinion, finish the job. If there's more work to be done, finish. Do not give them work. People, when you hire someone, do you hire someone to give you more work? If I'm hiring someone, it's because I want to do less. It's because there's something I don't want to do or I don't have time for, or I think they can do it for less than me or better than me. I don't hire someone so that I can get more work on my schedule. I've got enough work to do as it is. Why give your clients more work? Well, what's the more work that you're giving them? They're asking for those digital files. Yeah, they're asking for them. But if you were a roofer and someone said, you know what, in order to cut my costs, would you not put those new shingles, take the old roof off, bring me the new shingles, and just, lay those out on my driveway, and I know how to use a hammer. I can take it from here. Have you ever heard of a roofer doing that? Because I haven't. Maybe there is one that does that. I've never heard of it. Yet photographers, since digital, do it all the time. Before digital, BD, before digital, photographers didn't stop until they were done. So why are we giving ourselves an excuse? Well, because the client knows what to do. There's times when it's appropriate. That headshot for the business person's LinkedIn page, their Facebook profile, yep, it's appropriate to be a digital file at that point. But just because a person knows what to do does not mean the job of a professional is done. That's not what defines it. So you be the kind of professional that you want other professionals in other industries to be. So that's what brings us to the portrait selection consultation. Why I feel it's important. Call the day before, just like everything else we did. Call the day before, confirm. Make sure that we're on the same page. Make sure that something hasn't popped up in the meantime. Confirm. That's the first thing. Second thing, choose the portraits. Whatever it is they want, get their order. Now you're going to go through a bunch of steps, a bunch of process. We will cover that in a future episode of Portrait Profits. But the next step is to choose the wall portraits, choose the gift portraits. Next, afterwards, send them a follow-up thank you email. Even better, snail mail. I would say do it, have it in your car and write it as you drive away so you're out of sight. But drive away so you're out of sight, write it, seal it, have a stamp with you, and at the first post office box that you see, drop it in there. Everything's fresh on your mind at that point. You're appreciating the order they just gave you. Say thank you. A written note goes a long way. If you don't want to do it that way, email is going to be okay too. But that's the next thing on your checklist. Next thing on your checklist. Start working on those digital files for fine tuning, making them just the way that you want them. Now, if that means you outsource that, then that's the next step. If you do that yourself, do it now. There's things in your life that are going to come up. Things can get lost in the process. We want to make sure we're doing this now. And so the next step is to start work on those images. Now, for me, I send the base artwork out. I send it to retouchup.com. And I have them do base artwork. Let me make sure I'm defining what base artwork is. Flyaway hairs, redness, pimples, base artwork. Things that anyone who knows how to do basic Photoshop can do. Now, fine tuning, I do that on my own. I do that on my own. By the way, the reason I choose RetouchUp to do that, or some other, it doesn't really matter who you choose. The reason I choose to do that is because they can do it cheaper, faster, and not necessarily better than I can, but about equivalent. But the cheaper, faster, it takes them less time, I guess. It's just a it works out so well. Now, Javi, you asked how far do you take the images in editing before the selection session? Thank you for asking that. Each photographer is probably going to make their own choice on this as to what's best. So I'm only answering for me. All of this stuff is just from Jim's point of view. I don't finish them. A lot of photographers will. I don't finish them because I don't want to spend a huge amount of time on images they're not going to purchase. Now, if you're someone who gives away all your digital files, I don't recommend letting go of originals, meaning images that haven't been through the entire artwork process. So therefore, that would mean I would have to complete the artwork on every single image that I'm giving away if I chose to do that kind of thing. I don't choose to do that kind of thing. But that's just an integrity thing. If it's not done, it's not, in my opinion, completed. Now, I guess the less you know about Photoshop and what's possible, then I guess that means it could take you less time. The more you learn, the more things you can do. Some things take you less time, but then there's more things that you can do. So it can take quite a bit of time to do that. I usually invest between 30 minutes and 3 hours in an image. So therefore, if I've got 40, I am not going to spend that much time on every single image. I'm only spending that on the ones that they have actually purchased. So I fine tune those. So they're at a point where they're good. The color balance is done. The density, it's not too dark or too light. It's just right. Maybe a tiny bit of specific artwork, but mostly just global things that happen to the entire image. And when I say specific, that could mean that maybe I got rid of a pimple or two, but for the most part, I'm leaving that part alone and I'm telling them the process, what's happening. They know from the beginning how I choose to do business, and they've chosen to do business my way. If they don't choose to do business my way, that's not a problem. I've chosen what I feel is best. That's the tool I am. If they don't like that tool, then they don't choose this tool. And that's fine. There's enough to do. I hope that answers that question. That's a good question. So again, I'm sending the next step here is sending those images to my digital artist, getting that work done. And I have, if I have a specific digital artist that I sent it to, I have a line here that says which digital artist, and I put the name there. I also add a line of the date that I sent it and the date that I'm expecting it back. And the reason is because every once in a while, something slips through the cracks on their end. And I want to be able to see at a glance when I expect it to be done. That way I can check on it at that point. If I don't have something in that space, then this could be one of the things that's lost in the cracks for me. And I don't want that to happen. And so I also write down the date I expect it back. Once I have received it, the next step is fine tuning it, making it the way I envision it, the way I want to see it. And I have a date completed on that. Now, next, I'm optimizing it for its size. Optimizing for the size. Whatever size print they want, I'm optimizing it for that size. Next step. And then I send that to the lab. Now, before I get to the print order section, there's a few more things that I do here. So I've optimized it for its size, but next step is I'm making a list of anyone who helped throughout the entire process. This includes the lab. I'm making a list of all those who helped, because it wasn't just you. Yes, you may be the one who signs it. Yes, you own the copyright. But there were probably a lot of people who helped make this happen. Just like a movie, when you see the credits running at the end, there's a lot of people who helped make it happen. Chances are you hear the names of the actors, the top actors, and maybe the director if it's a well-known director, but for the most part, you don't hear those other names. I want to make a list of everyone who helped make this happen. Then write a thank you message to each person on that list. Again, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Sure does promote some goodwill though. On the, I'm also doing that in preparation because on the back of the print, and I don't always do this, but sometimes on the back of the print, I will do kind of like a list of credits. Who are all the people who played a hand in making this happen? It also helps lift, it helps justify, it helps them understand why something costs the way it does. Because it's not just some quick print that they could do at Walgreens. This had a lot of effort that went into it. That's what you're paying for. You're not paying for the paper. We aren't a reseller for the lab. Yes, we love Javi and Digital Pro Lab. Yes, we do. But we aren't a reseller for them. They aren't making name tags with our name on them because you're not a reseller for Digital Pro Lab. You're your own business. Digital Pro Lab is one of your vendors. Since when do businesses base their price on other businesses? At least ones that are as complex as ours, as many steps as ours. There's a lot of photographers that do, but that's not how they should. So I make that list of everyone and I'm writing a thank you letter. Now, not every single person do I write a thank you letter to, but several of them I do. Next, give your client some note cards as a gift. You might like this part. I have a whole section on this, and we're going to come across it in a future episode. This is a marketing tool that is amazing when done right. If you're just doing this one part of it, it has minimal effect. But if you're doing the whole thing, which we'll talk about in a future episode, it makes a big difference. If this portrait was a gift, and in one of my marketing tools, I show you how a lot of your business can come as a gift from a third party. It is a freakishly amazing marketing tool. If you don't want to wait until it just happens to come up, ask me about it. You do have that free portrait business assessment consultation coming. Take advantage. I make 4 and it has their photograph on it. And if this is a gift from someone else, I have them write a short message talking about the experience and how grateful they are to have received this. And then I put it in an envelope, address it, put a stamp on it, and take care of it for them. And the reason I take care of it for them is because before I did that, people would forget to mail it. They'd forget to send out that thank you card. They'd be happy to receive those note cards that I made them, and then they'd forget to send out the thank you, the one of the 4 that's going to the person who gave it to them. They'd forget to send that. So I take care of it for them, no problem. So that's the final step on that one, is put it in an envelope, stamp it, put it in the mailbox for them. Next step, now we're into the process of the print order itself. So you've sized it, you've sent the order to the lab. I have a little line next to that that says date sent. I also have a date expected. Again, just like with my artwork, I want to have an idea of when I can expect it. So therefore, if something happens to fall through the cracks, I am aware. I can see this at a glance on this paper that I have for every single person. Then I pick it up from the lab, make sure it's the way that I want it. Occasionally, I realize a mistake or something I have forgotten, and so I have to resend it to the lab. So I might have to go through a few processes. But let's assume that it's done and it's perfect. I pick it up from the lab, and then so there's the next step. The next one is the process that I go through afterwards. And so the process includes anything that I need to do to that print to get it prepared. I have a sticker, Landers Photography sticker, my contact information on it that I put on the back. I have copyright information on the back. I have the image number on the back so they can reorder if they needed to. That stuff's on the back. Also, the list of all the people who helped, the credits. on the back of the print. Generally, my prints are I have them mounted, so they're thick, and so it's not going on the back of a piece of paper. It's going on the back of some mount. So I put that on the back, and then I turn that around and I sign it. And some of you know, but if you don't, well, then this is news to you. I sign in gold. I have gold foil and a heated ballpoint pen. And I put that gold foil down, heated ballpoint pen, sign every single print in gold. Okay, cool. I like being able to say I sign in gold. I don't say it that way. I'm saying that way for you because I'm kind of proud of it. I know not everybody does it that way. And for other reasons too, but I've been doing it that way for at least 2 decades. I don't think 3, but somewhere between 2 and 3 decades I've been doing it that way. And there's other ways. You don't, heated ballpoint pen is just one of them. There's also, you can have a logo made and have it pressed into it. But however you do that, I think artists should sign their work. Now, you don't have to agree with me. Don't sign your work if you don't want to. If it's for a commercial purpose, I don't sign it. If it's going on the wall in someone's home, I sign it. I'm proud. They're proud. If there's a piece of art on their wall, some painter created, don't you think they sign it? Most of them. The starving artists sometimes do, sometimes don't. But the ones who are the expensive ones, I think I always see a signature on it. Maybe not in gold, but a signature, because they're proud. They say, that's mine. That's how they identify it. When you buy clothes at the store, there's a lot of times a logo on it. All right, next, package. And package just means however I need to package it to get it to its final destination. And that may mean that I'm putting it in a box. And my boxes, I have a black box with my logo pressed into it in gold. Black boxes, logo in gold. And then a bow that goes around that. But if it's a wall portrait, then it's going to be, it may be framed. I'm not going to be really packaging that. I may put it inside a felt, something to protect it, or maybe what the lab sent it to me in. I put it back into that. But I'm packaging it in some way so I can deliver it to their home. Then I'm calling for either pickup. If it's just something small, I don't necessarily deliver it. If they just order an 8x10, I'm either going to mail it to them or I'm going to ask them to come in to pick it up. So I'm going to call for what's next. But for the most time, I'm calling for a confirmation on when we can do the installation, when I can do the delivery and the installation. So once I've done that, I'm going to their home. I'm putting it in the spot, there's print in the spot where they wanted it, where we talked about, where we planned. I'm putting it there. I'm installing it. Now, you can't hire installers. For a lot of you, that's probably a better way to go. I usually just do it myself. Yes, there is a liability issue, but that's what business insurance is for. So if you're worried about liability, you should be at first. You should solve that problem and forget about it after that, because insurance covers those kinds of things. And stuff does happen. Not very often, but you're going to drop something. It's going to happen. Business insurance. And so, but once I have installed that up on their wall, I photograph them in front of it. And I tell them ahead of time this is going to happen. They're excited to see it. So of course they're there. But I tell them I'm going to photograph you in front of it if you're happy with it. If you don't like it, then I'm not going to photograph you in front of it. I'm silly. I say it in a silly way. But we just photograph them in front of it. And then once I've completed that and I've told them how much I've enjoyed working with them, then I leave and I do the same thing that I did before when I got the portrait order. I drive around the corner and I write them a thank you note and I drop that off as soon as possible in the post office box. Now you may think that's where it ends, but there's one more thing on this process. And that's in about a week or 2 or no more than a month. Call them back. Ask them how much they love their portraits. I want to know that they're happy. I have a thrilled guarantee, not a satisfaction guarantee. Seriously, satisfaction guarantee. Do you really want people? Here's a scenario of a satisfaction guarantee. That they have some friends over and they go, "Oh, it's a beautiful photograph of your family," and they go, "Yeah, it's all right. I'm satisfied." Is that what you want? We don't want satisfaction guarantee. We don't want satisfaction. We want thrilled. So I have a thrilled guarantee. I guarantee that you will be thrilled, not just satisfied with your portraits, or I'll do whatever it takes to make you thrilled. And if I can't, I'm giving you your money back. How do you guys feel about that? Would you trust a photographer who said that? Would that be something unusual? Would you offer that? Well, not everybody likes everything. Yes, but if you've done a good job of defining what kind of tool you are, then you only get the people picking you off the shelf that want you. Therefore, they're going to be thrilled. Well, this brings us to the end of the entire portrait photographer's process and the end of this episode of Portrait Profits. I want to thank you guys for joining us today, being part of this, giving this time, sacrificing something else, because I know that's what happens. Time is linear. You can only be in one place in one time. So thank you for being here today. I hope you take advantage of the 30-minute business assessment consultation. I hope that you give me your email so I can continue sending you emails about what's coming up on the next episodes. I hope to see you at upcoming other events, the ones that Javi mentioned, photo essay, anything related to photographers. I want to see you there. I want you to share what you know with the world, uplift other photographers in the photography community. Every little bit does help, even if you think it doesn't. Thank you for all the different contributions that each one of you make. You guys all rock. Thank you. Javi, did you want to share that the 8x10 promo code one last time?
Yeah, for sure. So one more time for anybody watching on Facebook or anybody watching it all, it's 30 wood. So that's the number 30, and then WOOD. And again, that's for 30% off of a wood panel print from Digital Pro Lab. You can order that online at www.digitalprolab.com. And then again, like I said, if you want to go to any of our social media accounts, follow us, and you can also get information on the wine mixer that we're going to be doing. Like I said, tickets for that, $10, raffle prizes, $5 a piece for a raffle ticket. We're going to have, everybody who purchases a ticket there for entry to attend the event is going to get, 2 pours of wine. Rerouted 210, they're a new wine bar here in town. They're going to be providing the wine. And I think we're going to have a really great time. And again, all that's going to benefit Southwest School of Arts Photography Department.
Thank you, Javi. Again, that promo code is 30WOOD, and that is for 30% off a wood print. 30 WOOD, 30WOOD. So thanks again for doing that, Javi. Just so you guys know that every single week, Javi and Digital Pro Lab have come up with some kind of cool deal for us. For those of you who are taking your time to better yourselves, to grow as photographers in the San Antonio photography community, so we thank you guys for being part of this and always giving us something special.
Absolutely, no problem.
All right, you guys, thanks again for being here. If you've got any questions, please send them to Jim@portraitprofits.com, and I'd be happy to get with you. And also take advantage of the business assessment consultation. I'll put that up on the screen one more time. So down at the bottom, you can see where the address is, and you can get yourself that free 30-minute appointment. And it is just free. I'm not selling you anything in it. Now, if you ask me to sell you something, okay, I'll let you buy something, but that's not what it's about. It's about you and your direction. Thank you guys once again. I appreciate you being here for Portrait Profits. See you next Monday. Bye-bye.